Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Ben Fisk for the Darkfall Protocol. Unfortunately, because we are approaching finals week, none of my crew was able to film this weekend. However, I didn't want to leave you all empty-handed, so I figured this was the perfect time to start the history of the Vile Miles. Now, the Vile Miles are a series of 4 achievements, the third of which is the Nifty 50. However, there were 2 that came before it, and today, I'd like to tell you the story of those achievements. Now, the Vile Miles initially began in the summer of 2013 on the Evening Covenant, the last list before the Darkfall Protocol. Now, at the time, the achievement was called Mapless Quest. However, because it has become part of a larger series of achievements, I now refer to it as the Pristine 15. So the Pristine 15 was relatively simple. It was me, my roommate, his new girlfriend, and 2 of our friends, all bundled into this pickup truck. And I just said, hey, take me 15 miles from here and abandon me. Now, this was the first time I did this, so they were pretty skeptical at first, but because it was me, they went along with it pretty quickly. They drove for, I don't know, probably took about 45 minutes. It's almost impossible to gauge time when you're listening to the same song on repeat and can't see or hear or even feel anything. We eventually pull into somewhere, and I get lit out of the car. Now, at this point, I didn't have the cool black blindfold that I found later. At this point, I had a dish rag tied around my face. So I was let out of the back of the truck, and Derek just started walking me, and I had no idea what was going on. I still couldn't hear anything. He just leaves me there, and he tells me not to take off the blindfold for about a full minute. I take my blindfold off just in time to see him go peeling down the road. Now, to give you some context, we are basically in a bowl in the foothills, is what it appears to be. It's pretty nice. It's very scenic. There's woods and all sorts of nice things there. There's also a park ranger who is sitting on one of those little motorized golf carts who is basically wondering if he just saw some kind of a hostage exchange. I'm looking around, I'm getting my bearings, I'm watching my driver tear off down the road, and I look to the side and I see this park ranger, and he just looks at me, and he crooks a finger and says, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, alright. Let's see how this goes. So I walk over to him and I'm like, hi there, how are you doing today? And he's like, you want to explain to me what just happened? And so I say, it's this cool, like, challenge, you know, because I'm, like, getting abandoned here and I'm trying to see if I can find my way back. Like, I don't even know where I am. If you would please not tell me, that'd be great. You know, I could have given your friend a ticket, right? And I'm like, what? Yeah, not only did he pull an illegal J-turn when he was pulling out of this parking lot, but he was going at least 40 when he peeled out of here. Okay. It's clear that he doesn't really know what to do. It's too weird for him to really process, and I can't even tell if he believes me. So he just kind of lets me go with this weird warning, and I'm in a great mood at this point. So the area that I'm in, I'm walking down this gravel road. So I eventually come to this fork in the road, and I take the left because I know that I want to try to get out of the foothills. Haha, yeah, I did know that at the start, and apparently not in the middle. So I'm trying to get out of the mountains. So I'm walking, going along this road, and I come across, it's not a ghost town. It feels like it was a ghost town and then got revived. So I'm walking through it, and it's a pretty cool town, and I get to this fork in the road. I go right, and I'm walking down this road. I'm walking, and I see this giant mountain off in the distance, and I'm like, oh my god. I think that's Horsetooth. I'm gonna keep bringing up Horsetooth, so I might as well explain what it is at some point. It's this really cool rock ridge on top of a mountain, and it looks like the bottom set of Horseteeth. It even has, like, the notch in it. And it's a very easily identifiable landmark. It's one of the best hikes in Fort Collins, in my opinion, because you can take basically anybody on it, and everybody knows where it is. So it is a pretty big part of Fort Collins culture. So I'm walking down the road, and I see this mountain off in the distance, and I'm like, oh, no way. If that's Horsetooth, I now know exactly where I am. So I continue walking toward it for quite some time, and eventually it becomes evident that it is Horsetooth. At this point, it's probably, I would say, about an hour and a half in, and so I just keep heading down the road. Now I know where I'm going. So after a long series of descents, I make it out of the foothills, and I'm walking along this fairly major road. So I'm walking along there, and this park ranger truck drives by me, and then pulls over into the bike lane and stops. And I'm like, what's happening? So he waits for a second, and then gets out. And it's the same park ranger from the beginning of this adventure. The one who was threatening to give my friend a ticket. He is laughing his off because he has found me 13 miles away on foot 2 hours later, and now he totally believes that what happened earlier was the truth, and he realizes that it's a hilarious thing that he's seeing unfold. So he comes over to me and he's like, it's a pretty long walk, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty long walk. And he goes, so do you want to ride? I'm like, man, if I could take one, I would. I really appreciate it. And he's like, all right, good luck with this. And he walks off just laughing. And so I'm like, what are the freaking odds? And at that point, it's just walking along this one long stretch of road. And so I get back to the apartment complex where I'm living at the time. 3 hours and 38 minutes was all it took for me to walk 15 miles in the mountains. When I walked inside of my apartment, my roommate and his girlfriend did not believe that I was already back. So, that was the mindset with which I entered the Dirty 30. I think I touched on how awful it was, but that is a story that deserves its own video. Until then, thank you for listening. This is Ben Fisk for the Darkfall Protocol, signing off.